Hello, hello. We are live. Yes. Welcome to today's episode. Yes, I realize that I've got different parts to the podcast that I did about patterns, how I've been breaking patterns so I can live my dreams. And as I was talking with a friend, all of a sudden thoughts started flowing. I started getting ideas and insights and awarenesses. And every time that happens, and I say the words, this could be a podcast, I have to stop myself from going too lengthy, right? So I had to wrap up all my thoughts. And then I had to come on and record this message for you today. So this is part two of being a pattern disruptor and maybe this is something I'm going to be talking about for a while, because when we get the revelation, when we get the awareness, and when we get the aha that our lives are our own, our dreams are ours to do what we want, what we have been put on this earth to do, the vision that we have been given is ours. Nobody gets to take that away. And yet, what's very interesting is that people will try, starting with our parents, right? Then you have family, right? And then you have friends, and then teachers, and then you have outside people. It is people that can rob us of living out our visions and dreams, or throwing them away and saying, we're just not going to do that. Why bother? And it dawned on me as I was talking to my friend today, I was like, oh, I get it. Where I'm at in my life today, the age I am, with the new season, I shared about my son, our youngest son graduating a few days ago. It was a week ago. From high school. I'm in a new season. My husband and I are in a new season, and now I'm pivoting in my life. I'm no longer operating the same way. I'm no longer wanting to operate in the same path that I have been going on forever, for a long time. I was talking about in part one, which, by the way, you got to go listen to it. It's June 14th, 15th. Yeah, June 15. I did a podcast. That's the date. 6/15/26. Go listen to that one because it ties in with this one. There we go. So, patterns. We're a pattern disruptor. I was talking to visionaries. Where's the visionaries? Where are you? Are you listening today? The high performer, high achiever. I'm talking to you. The ones who have been, also talked out of living what they want, how they want, going for their dreams and their vision, even if it doesn't look the way people think it's going to look. Also, today we're going to be talking about burning the boxes and beliefs that we have to be doing something the same way that everybody else is. And it's like, why do I have to live my life that way? Why can't I do what I want to do? For example, why can't I build a business the way that I want? Build a movement that calls the misfits forward, calls the ones who were also in the same place I was. Who said I can't do that? Who says you can't have the job of your dreams? It's not either build a business or have a job. That's BS marketing and messaging out there. Too many people, I believe, put too much focus on one or the other. And it's like, what if you can do both? Who said you can't live your dream as a stay-at-home mom or stay-at-home dad? Who says you can't live your dream having a What do they call that? Side hustle, whatever. Who says you can't have a dream of going live on social media and talking to people and bringing them into your world and inviting people to a new way of thinking and living and for me, I like who the hell said that I can't share my foster care story while interweaving transformation and how to stay out of the pit for people? But it's a message that's for those who I'm talking to specifically, the high performers, high achievers, right? The visionaries. My story is the foundation. And if I want to talk on that foundation, I'm going to talk on it. There's no perfect way to share a story. There's no right way to get people in your world. There's no right way. There's no perfect way of getting out there and doing the thing. It's going to be messy. It's going to take practice. Did I get here overnight? No, I did not. Has it been years of practicing? Absolutely. Has it been years of healing and burning boxes and we'll call it purging, which is letting go of things, getting rid of things that no longer serve me or help me? Yeah, it's been a lot of that, including letting go of people that's been robbing me of my life, of my peace and joy. Letting go. No longer tolerating the things that I used to tolerate. No longer putting up with those patterns that costed me time, costed me my life. My life has also been met with diagnoses because I was stuck in a pattern, unaware that it was patterns. And I did the same thing. Also, due to trauma, I was in a pattern of wrecking my body, which I didn't know any better. I can't beat myself up for what I didn't know. How did I not know better? But Tiffany, you're in your 40s now. How do you not know? Because that's what I was taught from a young age. That's what was spoken over me. That's what was ingrained into me. And in foster care, we don't get to rest. Rest is not a superpower in foster care. I couldn't keep myself safe. I had to protect myself. So talk about staying in a hypervigilant state from a very, very, very young age until after I graduated high school. And even then, I still kept myself in a hypervigilant state, which is basically saying this: I could not rest. I couldn't even take a nap because I thought I would be harmed. And naps, I didn't feel safe to take a nap. But now I love to take a nap. Like, don't get in my way. If I need a rest day, I'm going to take a rest day. I don't have to earn it. By the way, I'm going to say something that might trigger you. I want you to put your hand on your heart. Then I want you to say this out loud. Rest is a superpower. I don't earn rest. Rest is not a luxury. Rest is something that I get to enjoy and do. It is my superpower. Now, I'll bet some of you who said that out loud are like, "Ooh, do you want to fight?" Oh, believe you me, I fought that for a long time. But I'm here to tell you today that I have gotten out of the pattern of living in dysfunction and living in chaos. I don't even like hanging around people, not at my job, not anywhere near me, that bring in chaos and drama. It's a disruption. It's a disruption. It leaves my body in a chaotic state. I had someone once tell me that, Tiffany, it's not as easy for, people to look at like the cup half full. And then I was like, well, thank you for your perspective. And they told me their perspective. At the same time, I want to tell you something. Looking at a cup that's half full, it's a pattern disruptor for those who it is a choice to choose to look at the what's in front of you. It's a choice to pay attention to the crap pile or look at the crap pile and plant some roses. I posted something today on social media and it was talking about celebration is a key that keeps us focusing on the positive things in our life, not out of fakery, not out of robotic movements. Also, looking at a cup that's half full is a wonderful practice. Does it come easy for everyone? No. Does it come easy for me? No. But I've spent my life looking at the cup that was half full. I had to. I spent my life looking at the hope, sliver of hope every single day that I was going to make it through the most horrific environments in my life. Living in foster care, I had to survive. I survived it. Foster care, I'm not some hero. Do not worship me. Don't put me on a pedestal. Don't look at me and say, wow, well, you don't sound like you were in foster care. That's what people told me. No, don't. I'm not a spectacle on display. I'm not a god. Don't worship me. I'm not an idol. I am someone who freaking survived, and now I'm telling people how I survived, and this is how. But also, it's what has helped me to get out of the patterns that kept me from moving forward. But as a little girl, I held on to the hope every single day that I was going to make it. Every single day was a day in itself. Do you want to know the statistics that were waiting for me? And this is a pattern that they have set up for foster kids. Statistics is I should be addicted to drugs, depressed, suicidal, homeless, psychotic, have some, mental issues, or be dead. And I believe I said addicted to drugs or alcohol, or trafficked. That's what was waiting for me on the other side of graduation. That's what was waiting for me when I turned 18. That's what they spoke over me. They did not tell me, Tiffany, you're going to go do great things. No, I barely graduated high school. Thank God I did. It's the ceiling, which is now my kids' floor, and now my grandkids and soon to be, great grandkids' floor. So graduating was one of the best accomplishments of my life. And I broke a pattern disruptor. You know those generational curse breakers? The black sheep, the goats of the family, the black sheep, the ones like us that speak up and we aren't liked because they're like, ugh, don't go around them. They expose the truth. Yeah, but we're generational curse breakers, pattern disruptors. I was born a pattern disruptor. And I can't live the life that I want to live if I'm stuck in patterns that people have handed me. Live this way. No, live that way. No, live this way. No, live that way. No, here's what you do after you graduate high school. That's a pattern. Do you want to know something interesting? Is my son has graduated. Our youngest son. All of our kids have graduated high school. Okay? Whether they got their GED or whether they took night classes to get a diploma, they still made the decision to graduate. Okay? So instead of allowing my son, who still is 17, and us to celebrate and enjoy this moment, no matter how long it takes, even if it's for the whole summer, we're going to celebrate. We don't need to step into the next thing. Everyone that I have excitedly told that he's graduating, guess what the first question is? Oh, is he going to go to school? What is he going to do? And I stop them and say, he doesn't want to go to school. He's not going to do anything. And it's really not about what he wants to do. It's now, what are his dad and I going to do? Right? So then there was and people that I didn't give permission to like speak into his life or mine are making decisions for him. And it's like, first off, you need to back off. So somebody had recently also asked me, oh, is he going to do college? What college is he going to go to? And I was like, no, well, then he can get a job. And I was like, well, first off, you don't fucking live in my house. Thank you. Secondly, I never gave you permission to speak into my life. Thirdly, mind your business. Fourthly, we don't do things like that in our home. We do things a lot differently. And just because there's a job opening somewhere, just because you think that my son has to go do something, that's a pattern. I don't need to sit in your pattern. And it's very interesting how the world thinks and what they think. Other people. And it's like, no, let us live our life and let us disrupt some patterns. So now I'm going to respond to people very direct and I'm going to tell them why we are celebrating family. So why would you think that my son has to go to college or get a job right now? Thank you, but we're not going to do that. Thank you. And also, we're not that type of family. And that's okay. But there's so much pressure to perform, so much pressure to live a life that everybody else says to go live. But in reality, it's like, what if I don't want to do that? When I started building a business, one thing is true. The microphone. I talked about this in part one. I talked about how the pattern for me has always been to come back to the microphone. And I found it. Now, what's weird is I'm getting opportunities to grow my podcast, but of course, there are opportunities to get me sucked into hiring people to help me and then, pay them when I go viral and blah, blah. And it's like, well, first off, that doesn't sound like a plan that I even want to be a part of. Secondly, I'm hearing what's in it for you, but not what's in it for me. Thank you. And so I have a lot of people that look at my YouTube channel, which, by the way, you can find it. It's called, I just changed the name. Oh, Tiffany Rose Unmuted, I believe. Used to be called The Uplifting Coach, but I revamped it. And right now, when I upload my podcast and when it's published, it goes straight to my YouTube. Now, here's the pattern that people have said, which is they're like, well, that's not going to work. Putting your podcast on there is great, but, right, there's the but, right? So I lived in a pattern of pleasing people. But here's what I'm noticing. I started noticing that I'm getting more plays on my podcast on YouTube. The analytics for my podcast, I'm getting a ton of plays. People are listening on YouTube. I broke the pattern for YouTube. YouTube, people expect videos. But what if you don't have a video? What if you use your voice? What if you're wired to do voice-led stuff? What if getting on camera is something you don't do all the time? I mean, if you really want to see me on camera, you can go to my Instagram, which is still under the Uplifting Coach. You can go to my Facebook, right? You'll see my face on there all the time. You can go to TikTok, right? I'm on there. I primarily focus on Instagram, though. And also, the way that I want to live to do my dreams, live my dreams and my vision is this: talking, speaking. It's what God has placed in me to do. And when somebody tries to hand me a patterned shape box, I now swat it away because number one, what works for you doesn't work for me. And I'm paying attention to the patterns of what does work for me. And even when I hire a coach or a mentor, even when I hire whomever, right? They don't have the power to talk me out of what I want to do. However, I was unknowingly giving my power away. And I've had some great mentors and coaches, right? But this is the realization I've come to. It's not even a them thing, it was a me thing. I was the problem, right? Um, I have had some mentors. There was one mentor that I hired that totally induced trauma because she just kept inducing trauma in her environment. And I didn't realize it, but now I look back and I'm like, no wonder I didn't succeed or thrive there because she induced a lot of trauma. She induced a lot of, you know, work your freaking face off mentality. And when she would share her story, it was mixed, it was filled with like just trauma. And it's like, wow, you're keeping us stuck in a loop of trauma. It was work your freaking face off. Don't take time off except for the Sabbath. Or, it was a lot of it's a environment I will not ever go back to. It put me in tons of boxes, and even then I never felt good enough being in that space. And I think by 2022 I threw away all the books, all the DVDs, all the things, and I said, I'm done. I am not ever listening to this again in my life. I did buy a book that's in my Audible because I was like, you know what, that one was a good book. But I had to I had to learn how to get out of that pattern. And if I had stayed in that pattern of being in that environment, I would have never healed. I didn't heal in that environment. There are also people that are still inducing trauma by what they've been taught in that environment. I believe that these people are calling verbal processors troubled um, and still need to be healed, right? It's a trauma thing. And it's like verbally processing isn't necessarily a trauma thing to be fixed. It's how we've been made. And so don't try to diagnose me. You're not a therapist. And even if you are, I wouldn't pay you because you keep me in the pattern of unhealed. No, thank you. So as I keep going on this journey of really living out my vision and my life my way, the way that I want, the way that God has made me and what he has put inside of me to go do, I'm telling you, I can't see myself doing anything but this. Talking, speaking, guiding, teaching, poking the sleeping bear, calling people in, creating a movement. The foundational title of the movement is called From Foster Care to the Palace, but it's where high performers learn to break free from the patterns that are keeping them stuck in burnout, chaos, performance improving. It's what has been placed inside of me to talk about. Now, I didn't ask to grow up in foster care my whole freaking life. I didn't ask to be born to parents who chose alcohol. I didn't ask that. I didn't ask for any of that. I didn't ask for the abuse. I didn't ask to be put into group homes. I didn't ask for anything that happened in my life. There are people who will say, I believe this is new age bullshit, who will say, you know, it didn't happen to you, it happened for you. Okay, well, there's two parts to that. Number one is I call bullshit. Number two is when you start healing and growing, you will see the things that happened for you. And no, nobody caused what they grew up with. Okay, nobody asked for that. There's also a part to that new age BS where people will say something along the lines of, everything that's happened in your life are things that you caused. And I'm like, where the hell did you guys get that information? But here's the thing. What happened to us wasn't meant to keep us stuck in a pit. What happened to us wasn't meant to keep us in a state of chaos and angst and being unhealed and a state of trauma. What happened to us wasn't meant to keep us stuck in patterns that rob us of who we truly are, rob us of creating the life that God has given us, rob us. It wasn't meant to keep us stuck, it wasn't meant to keep us in a pit. What happened to us is the foundation so that we can find the things that for us we can collectively move and bring people with us on our journey, but not as a victim. No, no, no. I don't entertain victim mindset or talking or speaking. People aren't a victim. They choose to sit in that state, and it's not a state I choose to sit in. And for someone who's done the work, for someone who lived it and then has been healing and who didn't sit as a victim, um, I don't tolerate that kind of thinking. I don't tolerate that kind of speaking because we're not victims. But if we want to play a victim, we will stay there, and that's our choice. It's not up to anybody else to change how we're thinking and speaking. It's up to us. It's not up to our parents, bosses, therapists, or coaches and mentors. It's up to us. But we hire those people to help us. And then as you're healing, you will find out who you need to fire or walk away from. And that's okay because you will start learning that you are supposed to be respected and treated respectfully. And then as you grow, you also outgrow the same things, the same people, environments, patterns. You start outgrowing that stuff. But if you never take the time to look at any of what I've been talking about, you will stay in the same pattern over and over again. And when you get to that point where one day all of a sudden you look out and you're like, I'm no farther and I want to go farther. I want to be farther. I want to do something different. That's the day that your life will change. That's the day that patterns, you'll start seeing them for what they are and you'll start changing them. But it starts with a little bit at a time. We can't eat the whole elephant. Okay? That's just a statement. No elephants were harmed in the making of that statement. Okay? You can't heal everything at once. You can't break everything off at once. It comes in little bite sizes. And at just the right time, God releases healing in our brains. It's what's happened to me. He releases things, but he also helps us to find people that can help us turn the light on and say, guys, it's time. Hey, listen, I was there too, but you know what? I'm here to help show you how to break those patterns. And it starts by listening, and then it starts by applying one thing you're listening to. I don't care if you apply it for 6 months. Go and apply something. That one thing, because that one thing is what compounds and builds on the next thing. We don't get anywhere by sitting in the same patterns and choosing to do the same thing. We can't focus on the shit pile and expect us to have a life of what's that called? Transformation, or a life of strength and courage and confidence, wherewithal. And it's like a muscle, you develop it. Doesn't happen overnight, but little by little, you will start chiseling away at the things that have been keeping you stuck in a loop and patterns. And one day you're going to look back and you're going to be like, wow, look how far I've come. And by the way, you celebrate along the way. In my world, you celebrate. In my world, we celebrate you. In my world, you get to celebrate every small effort because it's a win. And then all those celebrations turn into a bigger win. And then when you look back, you're like, wow, I made it through that. And so that concludes today's episode. This, I believe, is going to be the part 2 of being able, pattern disruption to live our dreams. Because we can't live our dreams if we are stuck in the same pattern. It's like a maze, right? Going around the same mountain. It's exhausting. And one day, come to that point where, like, we're done. Yeah, I'm so done. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for taking the time to fill up your cup. Thank you for putting yourself first. Thank you. And if you are part of this community, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you again for choosing yourself and choosing a different path.